Selam. أعوذ محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين مدد يا رسول مدد يا سادات أصحاب مدد يا مولانا شيخ الله فاز حسن شيخ محمد الحقاني مدد طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجمعية الله دائم السن المجلس.
May Allah Almighty make the assemblies like these to be everlasting.
Bu güzel yerleri Allah'a Azze ve Celle iman edenler iman eder, onları yapar diyor Allah Azze ve Celle. Onlar makbul kullardır.
Allah Almighty mentions those who build masjids and places of worship like these in the Holy Quran, and Almighty Allah loves those and considers them who build masjids and places of worship like this to be His beloved servants.
Bu yerimizde Allah'a şükür, Allah bu yerde zikir yaptık, namaz kıldık.
And this place here has served as a place of worship, to gather for the sake of Allah Almighty, to make dhikr, to make sohbah, and to pray to Allah Almighty.
Verdik. Bunun vesile olan ihvanlarımızla dostum başkan Eşref Efendi burayı aldı, imar etti. Herhalde haldeyken güzel bir yer yaptı. Allah Azze ve Celle'nin bu mekanlardan oldu.
And we are thankful to those brothers who made the effort in order to establish this place here where we have been gathering. And it has been particularly Ashraf Effendi who has built and made this place here happen. And we are thankful that we have been able to come here together for the sake of Allah Almighty, make dhikr and worship Allah Almighty in this place here.
Komşuluk yaptırdı bize.
And we are thankful to Ashraf Effendi that he made us to be visitors, to be neighbors with Eyüp Sultan.
Komşuluk ahirette de inşallah olsun. Peygamber Efendimizin misafir eden.
And as we have been made neighbors with Eyüp Sultan in this world, we ask Allah Almighty to also make us to be neighbors with Eyüp Sultan in the hereafter. Eyüp Sultan, who has been the host of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
Ebu Eyyub el-Ansari Hazretleri de bizi de inşallah cennette misafir eder. Orada da onun misafir olur. Biz burada misafiriyiz.
And we are the guests here of Abu Eyyub al-Ansari, of Eyüp Sultan, and he hosted us in this world, here in this place, next to him. And we ask Allah Almighty, and we ask Eyüp Sultan to also host us in paradise in the hereafter. May we be his guests in the hereafter too.
Şimdi bugün galiba inşallah bundan sonra başka bir dergaha inşallah taşınacağız. Şimdi bu ikinci oldu.
And inshallah, this will be our last meeting in this dergah here, and we will be moving to a new dergah, our third dergah in the surroundings of Eyüp Sultan.
Birincisi az ilerideydi, bu yakındı mübareğe.
And our first dergah was also very close to Eyüp Sultan. It was further down the road.
Üçüncüsü inşallah daha geniş olur başında.
And now we are in our second dergah in the surroundings of Eyüp Sultan, and there will inshallah be a third dergah, and the third one will be much bigger inshallah.
İhvanlarımız yağmur altında, Allah razı olsun, yağmur demiyorlar, sıcak demiyor, kar demiyorlar.
And we are thankful to all our brothers and sisters who come to visit us here, whether it's cold or hot outside, whether it's snowing or raining. They always come, and now this place here, this second dergah here, is too small to accommodate all our brothers and sisters, and We are looking forward to our third dergah.
Bu Allah'ın sevdiği meclislere geliyorlar.
And our brothers and sisters, they come to these assemblies and gatherings for the sake of Allah Almighty. These are assemblies which Allah Almighty loves.
Onlar da Allah nasip eder inşallah o büyük dergah olur.
And inshallah, Allah Almighty will allow us to have that third dergah and make us to come together and assemble in that third dergah.
Orada rahat rahat şey yaparız. Üçüncüsü sabit de diyor. Üçüncü
And inshallah, in that third dergah, there will be a place to accommodate everyone comfortably.
Onlar Allah Azze ve Celle'nin sevdiği, bitirdiği tektir. 1, 2, 3 sabit derler. Üçüncüsü sabittir. Üçüncüsü inşallah.
And Allah Almighty, He loves the unique numbers, and thus the uneven numbers. And so we had our first dergah. Now we are in our second, and now we will have our third dergah. And may the third dergah be the one who will be the one which will be the firm and the defining place for us.
Allah nasip etti gene bu ihvanlarımızın bereketiyle.
And again, it's Allah Almighty who made these dergahs possible. And now our brothers and sisters, they've showed efforts for a third dergah, and it's again Allah Almighty who made it possible and happen.
Nimetleriyle Allah nasip etti.
It is a gift from Allah Almighty. We must know this.
O şeyler Allah'ın verdiği fazilet.
These are blessings and favors by Allah Almighty.
Nasip oldu.
And to receive these favors is a gift from Allah Almighty.
Çünkü çok dergahlar Şeyh Baba 40 seneden 50 seneden beri buraya gelip giderdi. Çok
And Maulana Shaykh Nazim, he used to come here to these surroundings for 40-50 years.
harabe dergahlar vardı. Onları istedi.
And there were many dergahs, and Maulana Shaykh Nazim would look for those places which were desolate and which needed renovation.
Nasip olmadı. Nasip olmadı. Her şeyde bir hikmet var.
But back then, it did not happen.
Onların zaten sahipleri vardı.
And it did not happen, and everything has a wisdom. And those places, back then, they had owners.
Sahipleri onları vakfetmişler. O vakıftan istifade ediyorlar. Bu bizim de Allah'a şükür, Allah'ın hikmeti. Biz de yani bu kimseden istemeden kimsenin hakkını değil de biz de Allah'a şükür vakıflara, İslam vakfına bir vakıf, bir arazi, bir dergah, bir yer nasip vermemize nasip oldu ihvanlarımızın hepsinin.
And those places, they are run through Islamic foundations, and we are thankful to Allah Almighty that we also made a contribution, and our brothers were the means for us to make a contribution to such an Islamic foundation.
O güzel bir şeydir. Allah daima böyle muvaffak olsun.
May Allah Almighty make us always be successful.
Hayırlar çoğalsın.
May goodness increase.
Hayırlar çoğalsın.
May the blessings increase.
Mühimdir çünkü bu kıyamete kadar amel defterine yazılan şeylerdir.
Because to build places like these, or to renovate them, these are good actions. Good actions, and the blessings of those actions, they will continue up until the day of judgment, and their blessings will be recorded in your book of good deeds continuously up until the day of judgment.
Bunlar hayır bir iş, hayır yaptın mı, sen öldün mü, senin milyarlar var, trilyonlar var, adama zırnık vermemişsin, kuruş koklatmamışsın. Hepsi burada kalır.
If you possess millions and billions, but if you did not something good, then you will leave everything behind and you will go to the hereafter with nothing. However, if you perform good deeds and if you fund and invest into such places, then those actions of those good deeds and beneficial acts, they will continue to benefit you even after you leave this world, and they will be recorded in your book of records as rewards.
Senin çoluk çocuk güzelce Kıbrıs'a gider. Lefke'ye gitmez. Girne'ye gider.
And we see, and there are many people who do not make such charitable acts. Instead, they keep their millions and billions of money, but they don't see any blessing from it. And the children, like them, they may go to Cyprus, but they may not go to Lefka. They may go to Kyrenia.
Mausa'ya gider, Lefkoşa'ya ne kadar para emecek yerler varsa haram için.
They may go to places like Famagusta or Nicosia, and they may use all your wealth, which you collected throughout your life and which you did not spend in any charitable manner, and they may waste all your wealth in all kinds of forbidden ways.
Oraya gider, onları verir kalır. Sen de ahirette fakir kalırsın.
And then those rich people who did not give a penny for any charities, they will be poor in the hereafter, and all the wealth they collected they will have left behind in this world, and their offspring will have wasted everything and nothing will remain from that.
Hazırlık yok sana.
And then you will be the one begging in the hereafter, but in the hereafter you will be the one not getting a penny.
Hayra ver dersin, kuruş vermez.
You ask, there are rich people who have so much, and you ask them for a charity, and they don't even give a penny.
İşte onun için Allah'a şükrediyoruz ki bizim yolumuz Şeyh Baba'nın yolu.
And therefore we are thankful to Allah Almighty to not be stingy like this, but to follow the way as shown by Maulana Sheikh Nazim, the way of generosity.
Verir ki o şeyler ahiret için bir şeyler yapsın o insanlar.
And this is what Maulana Sheikh Nazim taught us. Do something for the hereafter. Do charities that will benefit you in the hereafter.
Dinleyen de fazla parası olan o şeyler dediğimiz gibi dünyada rahmetli Hacı Yaşar bağırırdı Aziz Mahmud Hazretleri'nin para toplarken camiden çıkanlara ne verirsin elinden o gider seninle derdi. O doğru.
And one of our senior brothers, may he rest in peace, Haji Yashar, he at the exit of the tomb of Aziz Mahmud Hadayi in Üsküdar, when people would leave, he would shout out loud, and he would call upon people that what you will give from your hand for the sake of Allah Almighty, that is what will remain for you in the hereafter.
Senden sonra kimse vermez. Onun için böyle güzel yerler Allah'a şükür fakir de olsa ne olursa ona da kıyamete kadar onun hayrı yazılır.
And these are true words. If you give for the sake of Allah Almighty, the blessings and the rewards, they will continue even after your life. Regardless whether you're poor or whether this place is just a humble place, whatever you do as a charity for the sake of Allah Almighty, you will see its blessings and benefits also after you leave this world. Up until the day of judgment, your book of records of good deeds will continue to be added with rewards.
Allah razı olsun. Bu yerde inşallah zikirler, sohbetler bizden sonra da yine kıyamete kadar olsun inşallah.
And also may the zikr, the sohbets, the assemblies, the prayers continue after us until the day of judgment in these places.
İslam'a hizmet olsun.
May these places serve Islam.
Kendimiz için şey talebimiz yok.
There's nothing we ask for ourselves.
Allah'a şükrederiz ki bizi bu yollarda koydu.
All we ask is to be on this, to follow this way, and we are thankful to Allah Almighty that He made us follow this way.
Güzel yerlere getirdi. Biz ağaçları, onun meyveleri ahette yenecek ağaçlar ekiyoruz. Şefamızın dediği gibi.
And as Mawlana Shaykh Nazim used to say, plant trees, plant fruit trees, plant the trees which will bear fruits, and we're trying to, through these charities, plant such trees which will bear those beneficial fruits.
40.000 tane dergah yapacağız inşallah dünyada.
And Mawlana Shaykh Nazim used to say, 40,000 dergahs in the world shall be built, and inshallah we will do so.
O her dergah bir ağaçtır.
And every dergah in itself, by itself, is a tree, is such a charitable tree.
Meyvesi çok tatlı, çok lezzetli.
And each of these trees has fruits, and these fruits are sweet and tasteful.
Bir ağaçlardır bunlar. Ahirette keşke daha fazla bunların hepsini
And in the hereafter, we will be wishing, if only you had planted more of these trees, if only we had made more of these charities and more of these places.
lezzetli meyveleri yiyelim diye.
And we will be wishing to eat more of the fruits of these trees in the hereafter, because they are so sweet and tasty.
Dünyadaki şeylere bırakmayıp ahirete verdik diye sevinecekler insanlar.
And those who did charities and made these efforts, they will be happy in the hereafter that they invested what they had for the sake of Allah Almighty, and they did not keep it in this world.
Allah'a şükür. Onun için hayır yapmak Allah Azze ve Celle'nin insana, Müslümana verdiği en büyük fazilettir.
To be able to do something good, to perform a charitable act, is the greatest divine favor given to you by Allah Almighty.
Yaptırmak Allah'ın izniyle yapıyoruz.
It is through the permission of Allah Almighty, and it is Him, Allah Almighty, who makes us do good acts.
Fazl-ı keremiyle bize nasip ediyor.
It is through the grace and generosity of Allah Almighty that we are able to perform good deeds.
Onu yapıyoruz. Dediğimiz gibi adamların trilyonları var. Nasip değil.
And there are so many who have billions, trillions even, but they have not received that grace of making such charitable acts.
Ona nasip olmuyor.
They have not been destined to do these charitable acts.
Nasip olan bize Allah'a şükür. Allah ziyade etsin.
Therefore, we must be thankful to Allah Almighty that He, Almighty Allah, enabled us to do these things. Give thanks to Allah Almighty and praise Allah Almighty for this favor.
Bu yolda hizmet daim olsun.
May this service on the way of Allah Almighty be everlasting.
Allah bol versin.
And may Allah Almighty give abundantly,
insanlara hizmet edelim.
so that we may serve people more and more.
Fakir fukara her tarafta var.
They are poor and needy everywhere.
Onlara da hizmet etmek, onların olduğu yerlerde
And may we serve in those places of the needy.
Yardım etmek hepimizin için iyidir.
It is a blessing for all of us to be able to be in places where we can help the needy and where we help the needy.
O garipler de sabırlarından dolayı Allah'ın ecri sevabı var.
And the needy ones, because of their patience with Allah Almighty, they will be receiving their rewards from Allah Almighty.
Zahmet şeyin altında, soğuğun altında, çamurun içinde.
Those needy ones who undergo hardship in the cold, in mud, they will be rewarded by Allah Almighty for their faith and patience.
Ne gibi eziyetler varsa onlar sabredip o şeye tahammül ediyor. Onlara yardım etmek, onların da ecrinden bize de hasıl olur.
It is those needy ones who undergo hardships and all kinds of difficulties who through their faith and patience are rewarded by Allah Almighty, and we have the chance to take our share of these rewards they are receiving by trying to help them.
Allah yardım etsin. Allah muhafaza etsin insan
May Allah Almighty help them, protect them.
yani Müslüman değil sırf insan olan bile hani o manzarayı görünce insanlığından utansın diyorlar.
And when we look at the terrible situations people are in, one feels ashamed. Not only as a believer, not only as a Muslim, but as a human being, one feels ashamed of all these atrocities people undergo.
Onlar Allah'ın imtihanı.
But however, these are tests by Allah Almighty.
Allah'a indinde ecirleri büyüktür.
And they will be rewarded abundantly in the divine presence.
O ecre yardım eden de o ecirden alır.
And those who help those needy ones, they will also take a share of the rewards they are receiving.
Allah Müslümanlar tek vücut gibidir diyor Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, describes the Muslim community as one body.
Birisi acıdı mı bütün vücudun o acıyı sezer.
If one part of that body is harmed and feels pain, then the entire body feels that pain.
Onun için Allah yardım etsin. Allah
Therefore, we pray for all our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters.
muhafaza etsin. Onlar inşallah
May Allah Almighty help and protect them.
Yardımlar yetişir.
And may they receive that help.
Muhafaza olur onlar. Allah bu belaya da üstlerinden alsın.
So that they may they receive help and protection, and may that affliction be lifted from them by the will of Allah Almighty.
Allah Azze ve Celle. İnşallah Müslümanın her şeyi hayırdır. Muhakkak sonunda hayır olur.
A Muslim is always victorious, and there's always a blessing in everything, because in the end, for a Muslim, everything will turn out to be a blessing and to be good.
Allah kuvvet versin.
May Allah Almighty give strength.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty grant His protection
Hepimizin
to all of us.
kötü insanların da şerrinden muhafaza olsun.
May Allah Almighty protect us from the evil of bad people.
Bu dünya hali ahir zaman olduğu gene söylüyoruz. Ahir zaman olduğu için
And we are repeating that over and over again, stressing the importance that we live in the end of times, and the affliction that now happens is part of us living in the end of times.
zor vakitlerde yaşıyoruz ama
And we now live therefore in difficult times.
onun da ecri, sevabı çok büyüktür.
However, the more difficult things are, the greater the reward will be.
Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyurmuş ki siz benim söylediğimizin 99'unu yapıp da birini yapmasanız size ceza olur, itap olur. Ahir zamanda gelen ümmetin bir tane yapsa 99'u yapmasa onların hepsi kabul olur diyor.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, described the difficulty and the rewards of the end of times to his companions when he said, peace be upon him, to his companions, if you do not do 1% of 100%, even if you did 99%, you will still be held accountable for not having fulfilled that single 1%. However, there will come a time in the end of times that when people, they may not do any, if they only did 1% of that 100% and they did not do 99% of what they should do, it will for them be enough to just have done that 1%.
Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Onun için bizim vaktimiz, zamanımız kazançlı ticaret zamanıdır.
So looking from a business perspective of the hereafter, we now live in a very lucky time where we can gain a lot of rewards.
Savaş zamanlarında uyanıklar çok kazanır. Çünkü istediği gibi yapar.
When it's wartime, there's a lot of bounty and loot to be obtained.
Bizim zamanımızda şimdi aynı savaş zamanı gibidir. Ahir zaman eziyet çoktur.
And now we live in some kind of war. It's the end of times, and things are chaotic and difficult. However, there is great benefit and loot and bounty to benefit from.
Onun için kazancı boldur.
And therefore, if we do something good, there's great rewards in that.
Allah insanlara bu uyanıklığı versin.
So people should wake up and be clever and seize the opportunity of the end of times.
Uyanıklığı versin çünkü şimdi yaparım, sonra yaparım derken sen oturup da izler gibi hayatın geçip gidiyor.
Because now is the chance to obtain all those rewards, to get those loots, and to get the increased amount of benefits. But if you wait, if you don't realize that now is the time to do the goodness, then you will realize that life will pass by and it will soon be over.
Ahirete bir şey götürmeden
And without noticing, you will have left this world and went on to the hereafter without anything.
Gibi oturmuşsun, bir şey elinde, ne lenger var ne tas var, su geliyor gidiyor başında, sen orada şimdi alırım sonra alırım derken her şey biter.
And you will be empty-handed. Now you still wait. You think there's time, but before you realize, it will be too late.
Sen de öyle kalırsın. Onun için
you will remain with nothing, empty-handed. You will be completely empty-handed if you don't take that chance now and do that goodness. If you wait, it will be too late.
Bu ne kadar hayır, hasanat, ibadet yapalım inşallah.
Therefore, we must do and should do as much as good as possible. Do as much as charitable acts, perform worship, and do goodness and acts of kindness as much as we can.
Allah muvaffak etsin, nefsimize uydurmasın.
May Allah Almighty make us to be successful in doing goodness and protect us from being led astray by our egos.
Oturduğun yerde nereye olursan, ister arabada, ister evde, ister mecliste nerede oturursan Allah Azze ve Celle'nin zikrini unutma.
And you can do goodness wherever you are, whenever. Whether you're sitting in the car, whether you're sitting at home, wherever you are, you can always make remembrance and remind yourself of Allah Almighty.
Allah Azze ve Celle'yi unutma.
Don't forget Allah Almighty.
Allah seni sevsin.
And if you constantly remember Allah Almighty, Almighty Allah will love you.
Sana yardım etsin inşallah.
And He will support you, inshallah.
Allah hepinizden razı olsun.
May Allah Almighty be pleased with you all.
İnşallah burası da dediğimiz gibi inşallah daim kıyamete kadar Allah Azze ve Celle'nin zikriyle.
And inshallah, with the permission of Allah Almighty, may this place continue to serve the zikr and remembrance of Allah Almighty.
Daim olsun, iyi insanlar yetişmesine sebep olsun.
And may this place be a place to raise good people, and may this place continue to be a means for good people to come into appearance.
Buraya gelenlerden de, verenlerden de, o buranın sahibinden, işçisinden, hepsinden Allah razı olsun.
And may Allah Almighty be pleased with all the people that come here, with the people working here, showing efforts and making this place run. May Allah Almighty be pleased with the owner and everyone involved in contributing in this place.
Allah fazla dergahlar, daha büyük dergahları nasip etsin.
And may Allah Almighty grant us more and more dergahs and greater dergahs.
Yani burası güzeldi ama dediğiniz görüyorsunuz.
This dergah is beautiful, as we said, but as you see, it's only limited in its space.
Vaziyet sığmıyor. Onun için Allah.
People don't fit in, as you can see.
Allah'a şükür daha büyük bir yer olur inşallah.
And we are thankful what we are thankful to Allah Almighty for this place, and we ask Allah Almighty to increase His favor on us and to open us a dargah much bigger than this.
ومن الله التوفيق. الفاتحة.